Ladies and gentlemen, what wonderful times we live in. Or what else do they say? Scary times, frightful times. Thanks for joining us. This is the You, Me, and BTC podcast, episode 194. I am Daniel Brown, and I'm here with
Tim Baker. I need to enunciate a little bit better, like Daniel.
Tim. How are your times these days? Are they wonderful? Are they scary? Are they
I mean,
exciting?
actually, I'm very, very concerned about a bunch of men not standing on a field. It's really starting to bother me, especially with the sport
Oh,
that I don't
jeez.
really care about at all. But do you understand
Oh,
what is going on
jeez.
right now, Daniel? Do you understand the magnitude of what is going on the
Honestly.
field, Daniel? But
Man, that's a good thing to bring up. Like,
I've started sleeping at whenever I hear the anthem, I just kind of follow. I sleep in solidarity with those too lazy to recognize. What about the deaf people? Why are we against deaf people? Why can't we have a
a
Morse
tapping
code?
at
Fuck, not a Morse
them.
code. Why can't we have a Braille national anthem? You cunts.
That's a good
Uh,
point.
yeah, but
That's what
no,
we got
it's
to do.
cool. I haven't really noticed anything. It's just people on the internet.
So we got some fun stuff planned for today, guys. Amazon. Will Amazon accept Bitcoin? Holy
Hopefully,
crap!
because I'm
Hopefully.
tired of using person. Every
Tired of
time
getting discounts. Actually,
something
that's
gets
a
no, I do like that, and I feel like a fuck complaining about it, but it's like literally every single time I use it now, just one item gets canceled and the person just doesn't send it, and I'm like, what did you do it or did they do it? And no one ever answers my goddamn question.
yeah. Well, I got screwed over with some gift cards recently, but
That's because
whatever.
you're a cheater. It's probably you buying my shit and then canceling. What were you gonna say?
No, no. I people buy me gift cards and then they got canceled. But yeah, well, that's something we definitely got to get into is if Amazon does accept Bitcoin, how will that affect Purse? Will it disappear them? I don't know. But that is all coming up. Before we get into all that stuff, I have got to share the place to be tonight. This is you, me, and btc.com/live. This is your home for all things YMB, and it's literally everything you need there. You got the video, you got the chat, and we'll be jumping in there all night long, sharing whatever you got for us. So definitely jump in the chat. We'll jump in there too and have a good jumping time. So jump.
Wow, such description.
I had some pretty short show notes today because I was busy. So I was busy.
He was busy selling out.
We got the links to the stories we're going to cover, some tweet buttons, and our poll. And it's the same question. Will Amazon accept Bitcoin by the end of October? Now, there's some other, I tagged Sovereign Tech in here. That's Brian Sovereign. We've talked about him a couple times lately on the show just because I listen to his show. So he always, gives me something to talk about. But where was I going with that? Oh, he says that maybe they will accept Bitcoin, but only as like a side effect, not because they really care about Bitcoin, but it'll be a side effect of this other payments thing that's coming out. And I'll share some more about that, like I said, coming up. But once again, this is you, me, and btc.com/live. Tim's already jumping in the jump chat jumpers, so apparently he's on his personal account today instead of the YMB account, so he can't ban people, and I can ban him and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes we're both in the chat as YMB, so that's always a fun time.
I'm trying to not obfuscate and create a transparent company.
There you go. Hey, just as a random fun reminder, just because I see it here and it makes me laugh and whatever, we got some Bitcoin garb or swag, whatever you want to call it. We like to call it garb just because it's different than swag and everyone calls it swag. So if you want to get anything interesting like this Mr. Krabs t-shirt right here with giant Bitcoin eyes, that's you, me, and btc.com/garb. And it'll take you right there and you can try it out. Hey, speaking of other cool stuff on our website, I'm going to leave my screen share on and show you this. This psychs me out. It doesn't make us a ton of money yet, but I just think it's a genius idea. And we've been covering this kind of idea for shoot, I think middle of 2014 or something, maybe 2015. I found a very old YMB live, an old YMB live episode where we talked about mining as an alternative, mining in the browser as an alternative to advertising. Tim, do you remember any of that? Probably not. Why would I even ask?
Talking about it before whenever you go on your ad kicks. But
Ad
yeah,
kicks.
I remember because there were other people talking about doing it because then it's like, well, they're stealing your computer's performance, but you don't have to look at this popping thing up telling you to buy the newest male testosterone pill.
Yeah. Well, hey, here it is. It's everyone hates ads. A lot of people do. I joke because I literally use I use ad blocker on my own website. You can see it running right now. I block the ads. But right now it only works on our converter. Eventually I'm going to somehow roll it out on the entire site. Well, no, it works across the entire site, but the button to turn on the mining only shows up right here on our converter page. After you do a couple conversions, this will pop up and say, hey, you can remove ads and mine for us instead. And you click the Mine Now button, it refreshes and blocks the ads, which doesn't matter now because I already have the ads blocked, but it'll block the ads. And also something I plan to implement is stats. I want to show you, the user, I want to show you how much you're mining and how you're supporting us. I don't have that set up yet, except, I guess, Tim, can you see this right here now that I'm inspecting and no?
Yeah, you're talking about
Oh, yeah,
on the
okay,
side.
you can. So if you're a developer, you can get to this little tab here, and it shows that right now I'm mining 10 hashes per second on, this is actually on Monero. It's Monero mining because it works better with a CPU in the browser. Obviously, everyone knows with Bitcoin, you couldn't really mine with your computer because ASICs took over. But with Monero, it still works to mine on your computer. So there it is. It's mining for me now. And you can try that out too. That's you, me, and btc.com/convert will get you to our calculator tool here. And you do a few conversions and it'll ask you to turn it on. And there you go. So, okay, I've plugged too much now. So we'll back away from that. Tim, what do you think about frickin' Amazon? Are they going to do it? Hit me with the yes or no.
I don't see why not. I think it makes sense for them to do it. It makes sense for them to take the new payments. There's not enough pressure from the government to say not to do it. It's around. It's all the press is even like they spend so much time trying to make it look bad, and the press still doesn't look that bad for Bitcoin right now. So I think it's people are definitely looking at it as more. I think there's more people who are like, oh wait, it keeps on going back up over like 1,000. Like when it broke over that and it started jumping up, and now it's right around or right above $4,000. It's very easy to convince. I think it should be very easy to convince someone that it would continue going up, even if that person doesn't believe that it's going to stay up permanently. They still do think that it is probably going to go up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's some people have said for I want to say the word decades, but that doesn't work when Bitcoin hasn't been around for 1 decade yet. But some people have said for ages, just well, they have to. I mean, they're a gigantic online, company that deals with money. They've got to have Bitcoin eventually. Now, sure, maybe that could be the case, but I'll explain some of the counter argument right here. Let me flip back onto my screen share and share this tweet from Brian Sovereign to us. This is from just a few minutes ago. By the way, you guys are always totally encouraged to tweet us at any time. And if we'll try to get to it on the show or reply or retweet or whatever, that's always a, do it. That's at you, me, and BTC. But this is Brian Sovereign, and he said, in response to our poll, he said they'll accept the Amazon will accept the payments received API, not Bitcoin. The API just happens to work with cryptocurrencies. So I don't know a ton about it, but apparently there is a new standard payments API coming out soon. Just like a standard, I don't know, HTML or CSS or JSON, whatever. It's just a web standard, some sort of protocol that is official and clean and approved by some people. It's just a standard that decisions of how payments should go through and how to communicate about payments. And it's going to happen to include Bitcoin or crypto payments. And the theory from Brian is that they are not going to accept Bitcoin directly just because they love Bitcoin. They're going to start working with this new standard payments API. And yeah, sure, it happens to include Bitcoin. That is his argument. So here's a big question then, Tim, and anyone listening. I guess the question is, does that mean they're accepting Bitcoin? I mean, what does that mean? Are they Bitcoin? Well, what the heck? We lost Tim. I don't know. Maybe he had something going on. But that's what I want to know. I guess the argument from someone like Brian would be like, well, yeah, whatever. They're accepting Bitcoin, but they don't love it. It's a side effect, like I said earlier in the show. But I don't know. Another part of his argument was that they don't need to accept Bitcoin. They already somewhere there's a statistic. I don't know if I believe it, but somewhere there's this statistic that says 50% of all the money spent online is spent at Amazon. Actually, let's start there, Tim. Do you believe that?
Yeah, I believe that. Because if you're looking to buy something online, it's either going to be you're looking at Amazon, and then you're looking at not a third party, technically, because they might even sell on Amazon too. Huh?
I mean, there's other big. What about eBay? What about eBay's way smaller, but if you add up eBay and Apple and all the other tech vendors, Microsoft with all their Xbox sales, Sony with all their PS4 sales, Steam with all their gaming sales. If you add all that up, do you really think Amazon still holds 50%?
Wait, what was the quote again? Because are you sure it's not like physical stuff specifically?
Well, that's possible. Well, the way I heard it, the way I heard it was that 50% of all the money spent online is spent at Amazon. But you might be right. Maybe there was a qualification like that.
Definitely, if there's that qualification, I'd still say you can probably argue, because on Amazon, I mean, you're buying a game, but the people aren't buying a game regularly. Like, they're buying the supplements or clothes, or, I mean, people buy all kinds of games on Amazon too. You can buy digital games. You can buy digital music. Yeah. I've used Amazon for digital music. I've used Amazon to buy video games. I've used Amazon to buy books. You have all the Kindle shit, Kindle Fire. They sell all kinds of movies on there now too, with the Amazon Prime. I could definitely, because they are kind of just the one-stop shop, and it's most of the time they are going to be one of, if not the cheapest option, compared to even people's websites, but especially like in store.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They are. Although I've heard other people say that now that they have, now that they are so dominant, they're not really that much cheaper anymore. But yeah, for the most part, you're right. They're usually the cheapest you can get. I found a Business Insider article that says that Amazon accounts for 43% of U.S. online retail sales. So, whatever, something like that. Uh, they also accounted for 53% of the growth in sales. Whatever. So, yeah, a ton of money gets spent at Amazon. So going back to Brian's argument, he basically would say they don't need to accept Bitcoin. They don't care. They already have all the income they need. And we've touched on that before where okay, so when we first started the show, it was amazing when someone would accept Bitcoin. It's like, holy crap, they're accepting Bitcoin for gold or silver or coffee. And it was amazing. It really was overstock. But then it started to happen more often, and it became less and less of a sudden profit spike for retailers. At first, yeah, okay, the community would love it and buy stuff and give them a little bit of money for a while, whatever. But it became less and less effective as that kind of tool because everyone started doing it and it wasn't that exciting anymore. So maybe, yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of people buy stuff on purse, but let's say they did, Tim. Do you think people would still spend a ton of Bitcoin at Amazon? I guess that's the question, because yeah, some of us love Bitcoin and some of us would spend it on Amazon, but as a percentage of their regular sales, maybe it would have to be a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percentage, and what do they care?
Of how
Is
much
that a possibility?
extra they're going to get from it from this initial push.
Exactly. How much is that really going to boost their sales? I mean, even if
don't-
the Bitcoin community like fell in love with it and bought everything on Amazon with Bitcoin, even that, you got to think, is that really going to increase their percentages that much? Or is that going to increase their profit by a significant percentage?
I don't know the exact words for stuff in business. I probably should, but I don't think it really help as much
Seeing
with
as you like run a business.
yeah. I think that I think it's less about profit and more about their like the back end, because if you implement it finally, it can, at least, especially if they are just going with like the payment system instead of like actually Bitcoin, it can get rid of some stuff where you're putting more money over into overhead in the kind of system for running the payment and for accepting it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree, and I agree that's exactly why they might go with this new standard, because yeah, sure, it's a standard API, it's smoother, and it works with everything. Sure, we'll work with that. And oh, look, it has Bitcoin too. Whatever, okay. So I agree that that's some of their reasoning for maybe going with this API if that's what they're doing. I wouldn't say that would be good reasoning for Bitcoin, because yes, it has benefits. It's cheaper. It's a little cleaner. If for some people, if you use it the right way, whatever. But is it? Where am I going with this? Oh, it also passes the transaction fees on to the user. That could be a big one. But uh, that improvement only would come. That's where I was trying to go with that. So you were just saying, it cleans some stuff up on the back end, maybe make some smoother payments. I definitely love paying with Bitcoin when I can just scan a QR code on my screen and literally like 2 seconds flashes and says accepted or whatever. It would be cleaner. But the fact is, it would only clean up the tiny fraction of your transactions that are in Bitcoin. So would it help that much? I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, I think I don't think they're looking at it as this is going to make us a bunch of money. I think it's just let's just start using it because it's going to be here for a while, or at least this technology, something's going to be here for a while.
Yep. Well, that's true too. I mean, in a way, is it's only going to be a drop in the bucket, so who cares? Well, in the same way, that the difficulty it would be to implement this is just a drop in the bucket of Amazon's resources. So who cares? All right, whatever. It's not going to help us, but it's not going to hurt us either. Let's just accept it. And especially if they believe it's going to be around for a while, they might as well just, all right, whatever. Let's put three guys on it for 3 days, and all of a sudden we'll be accepting Bitcoin.
Well, yeah, it's like it doesn't seem like it's that huge of an overhaul to start doing it. But
Well, for Amazon, Amazon's a kind of an exception because they got to think about taxes in 50 different states and in 200 different countries and with 800 different other currencies and jurisdictions. And so for them, there's kind of an exception. I'm sure it would be super difficult.
There's the different like domains for Amazon, like Amazon UK, Amazon whatever. But it's still, I think, on a comparative basis, like anything Amazon does is going to be a fucking nightmare to actually deal with.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
comparatively, it shouldn't be as that hard.
It's no harder than anything else they do, like implementing related products or, a pay with PayPal or what. It's not going to be that different than anything else they have to deal with. So yeah, they should be able to, I guess, is the point. And we'll find out. Hey, even get into too many of the details here, so I'll share a little bit before we move on. Story where this is all coming from. This a guy named James Altucher. I don't know. James Altucher. I like that. James Altucher founded 20 companies and authored 11 books. The argument there is that he probably knows what he's talking about. He runs a podcast. This squad.org. No idea how legit that is, but whatever. The story itself has been making the round, so I'm assuming it's legit. But he's started companies, written books, and has a podcast and offers investing advice and whatever. And he is saying that Amazon must be accepting Bitcoin soon. Insider rumor that he has. Now, they also say in this article that Google just started accepting Bitcoin. And that is a big misnomer. Again, this is from Brian Sovereign, kind of where I heard about this, but it's the same thing. Google accepts this payment API, not Bitcoin directly. They just happen to accept it in some ways because they're using this API that happens to accept Bitcoin. That's what I heard from Brian. So that's supposedly it's a big misnomer to say that Google accepts Bitcoin. And we'll find out. We still don't even know if Amazon is going to be going with this API that just happens to accept Bitcoin, or if they're going to have a big Bitcoin button on their website. Well, we still have to see. So we don't know if it's going to be a misnomer for Amazon yet, but he argues that it is a misnomer to say that Google is accepting Bitcoin. So, in fact, I think he even said that they're not even really accepting it. They're just allowing this API in Chrome as part of their browser. It has nothing to do with Google. They just are enabling this API in Chrome. So we'll see.
Yeah, but that's fucking like it literally seems like that's everything now. Just as an aside, because let's use up some more time. There's no news anymore. No, I don't want to say anymore. I don't want to sound like one of those people.
What do you mean no news? Remember all those national anthem people, Tim? That's huge news.
But exactly, but it's like everybody's bitching about this, and I am stealing this just from somebody on Twitter. But it's like they didn't do any of this shit until 2009 when the government gave money to the NFL because they wanted more patriotic shit at the beginning. It's the same way they give money to movies to make fucking idiots go off and just die to, I don't know, just do whatever, because it's this whole just propaganda thing, and everything in the news just ends up being stirred up, switched around some other way, because it is so easy, and we do have so much information out there. It's so fucking easy just to skew something because you do just want clicks.
So yeah, I do actually want to get into that, Tim. So let's do it in a second, but let's real quick tie up this story and cover the chat. So at the end of the story, it says there's an update that says once we released this article, we got all this spam from Switzerland with the message that said Amazon will not accept Bitcoin. All dozens of pingbacks, all within a second of each other, spammed us and saying that Amazon would not accept Bitcoin. That sounds like damage control, is the comment from the author here. Sounds like damage control to me. The truth is, everyone will accept Bitcoin. Stopped. Okay. The author here is Justin Danaman. I don't know why he's so insistent on that point, but sure, I love Bitcoin, and if you think it can't be stopped, I generally agree with that. So sure, okay. Yeah. Okay, so that's what we got here. Well, I can't wait to find out. The deadline poses from this James Altucker guy. Or I guess that's not the deadline. That's the earliest they might announce it. So we got about a month, and then I'm sure it'll be another great topic for our show. So we'll get there. Okay, in the chat, I don't really know what he's saying, but we got Craig Daub in the chat saying, I think more about image. I don't know if he's talking about Amazon or the national anthem. So, but either way, we can comment. So we'll start with Amazon. Is it just about image for them to accept Bitcoin? Like, what would the image be there? Like, oh, we're open to new technologies?
Yeah,
Nah,
probably.
I feel like
it's like we're gonna take a chance because people like companies that take risks and aren't just slow moving corporations.
Yeah.
Daniel,
How great are we?
Well,
We removed the headphone jack. We are courageous.
do you understand what we're working on over here? We're gonna blow your mind.
Courageous.
Yes, yes, because now everything we need, we always need the company to send out their Snapchat and remind us that they hate Nazis or something like that. So I don't give a shit what you do. Just make food for me or make laptops. I don't give a shit. Do whatever you want.
Let's just like our website stop streaming because we're courageous. We don't need that old-fashioned internet crap.
We're tired.
We're just gonna talk to our walls, and somehow you'll hear us.
No, I mean, because we are all joined together as human beings, we have this need to connect. So we do have an ethereal kind of mind melding because we're all people, Daniel. All love, bro.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Then the other possibility is he's talking about the national anthem image. The NFL wants to give one kind of image, and the coaches want to give one kind of image, and the players want to give one kind of image.
But that is
definite
everything.
Yes.
Because image is so important now, because instead of image just being like the three people that you talk about, because of how everything's so like on social media and everything, your image goes out to thousands and thousands of people, even if you don't do anything. Like, you might just get like, it's so important that everybody, the coaches are like, I just don't want my fucking team doing shit, so we might just hold them in here. Like, the whole thing, everyone's fucking burning Steelers jerseys now because Steelers stood in the thing, and the Steelers like, hey, we did this so there wouldn't be protests. But now that everyone's burning the thing, they're like, fuck you. And then some of the Steelers, and then there was one Steeler who's an ex-veteran. I almost said an ex-veteran. You never become an ex-veteran. Once a Marine, always one. I think he was from the Army. I'm not sure if it works like that. But he went out and just stood there holding the hand over his chest and mouthing the words. And I'm like, literally, this is what everyone is so concerned about. It's just some dude, like if you saw someone just standing at a street corner with no music, just doing that, you'd be like,
you'd be pretty creeped out.
Yeah, either that or you'd be like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, what drugs is he on right now? But no, he has a iPhone in, not with a corded one. He has an iPhone wireless, playing the national anthem just constantly. That's actually
my biggest question here, as some premise, if anyone's new here, we are a Bitcoin and a Liberty podcast, so this is definitely up our alley, and that's why I just figure, what the heck, let's go for it. Let's follow the news cycle and get those clicks and shares or whatever. So my biggest concern is, or question that I need answered, what do I say when people freak out about this? Because I've said on the show before, I work at a relatively conservative company, so they're all freaking out about this, and I'm trying to think of like what the easiest thing I can say is just who freaking cares? Like that's to me, that's the answer is who freaking cares? Like calm your tits. But the problem with me saying that is then they freak out even more. They're like, what do you mean? What do you mean who cares? Yeah, they died for me.
I mean
So
that is part of it, and I sometimes people are like, yeah, like all like no one actually cares about this stuff. It's just the media telling us that we do. There's nothing actually going on. I'm like, no, there's a lot of dumb motherfuckers, especially with stuff that gets down to like whenever you start burning pieces of cloth or anything that has to do with race on every single goddamn side. Everyone just goes, no, I'm not the bad person here. It's like literally you're just being pitted against each other, so you don't give a shit anymore. Like it's not even hidden. They're just going, oh no, he's bad. Why is he bad? He's in the exact situation I am. Well, he's a different color because that's the easiest one to look at. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Every single white person is racist, and then on the other side, you're like, there's the black crime rates are so much higher. Is that personal guy's crime rate higher? Well, I mean, I don't really know, but it's just everyone just fucking hates each other, and then it is this whole thing where everyone is always so worried about private, like a singular person just fucking with their life and stealing from them and murdering them, but then they're fine paying half their goddamn salary every year to have it just outsourced publicly because, oh no, someone might point a gun at me and steal $100. And what happens if I can't call the police and report that and not have it rectified afterwards?
yeah, see that's the problem. We've said this a few times over the past few weeks. Is like it sounds like oversimplification, but that really is the answer. Just like stop taking my money. Like who cares? Like I get away from me. It sounds like oversimplification, but that really is the answer. The problem is, even though that really is the answer, crap, when you say that, they're just gonna freak out even more, like I said. And so I still haven't solved this issue, and I'd love to hear if you have an idea, Tim, or anyone else. Tweet me at me and BTC. But what is a reasonable way to go about saying like, what the frick? I don't care. I don't. So his butt is touching this chair that he sits on. Song playing. Okay.
But Daniel,
okay.
It's all the fucking.
Or here's one that might actually work. I haven't tried it out yet. I'm shocked that nobody's talking about this. Like literally the third verse of the national anthem says like the slaves will never be free. Have you ever heard that one, Tim? Let me find the actual lyrics. I'm embellishing it a little bit, but like the third verse says something like the slave and the hireling shall never find refuge.
Like, of like the one that nobody knows, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So
yeah,
I'll pull it up here because like I said, I'm embellishing it a bit.
That's the thing. It is this whole like we give every single improvement we have on our life, which yes, I understand that the government has been integral in having the medical advances we have today and in having the technological advances we have today. But one, that doesn't make it a moral thing. And that does get where you're arguing, where everybody wants to say that they don't believe in anything. Oh, nothing matters. There is no God. But then they'll get fucking pissed off about these singular things, that these are very important truths to the world from nowhere. But it's
so the lyric here is no refuge could save the hireling and slave from. Oh, here. Let me put this in the right. Okay, let me see where it is here. Oh, screw it. I was going to try to get the right tune, but I don't know where in the verse it is.
Don't even try.
It says, no refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. What? Okay.
I don't even know what that means.
I read an article about it. I don't know how much I believe all this backstory, but supposedly it's something about, slaves were fighting for the Union, and some people didn't like that, and and they were supposedly it's something. Geez, I'm misquoting a
But is
misguided
the
article
national
on some
anthem is
third
from
party
the
website. But
did they write extra verses to the anthem later?
no, this is
It was
all
written in like
original.
1812. It was during.
Yeah.
So what does it have
Oh,
to
was
do
it
with
during the
the?
Civil War?
No, it was during. It was Francis Scott Key, who was a fucking.
1814. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a socialist too. Besides everything else about how great this is and how great, like he was a pretty
The
like a
Battle of Baltimore in the War of 1812.
yeah. It was he was watching some ugly ass city getting blown up, and he decided to pen something. And now, for whatever reason, because it's this, a lot of people I like they won't intellectually believe that that pride in your country or whatever like that is like
Patriotism.
actually true. Like they won't be like, oh, you should definitely have, they won't tell you that you should definitely have
What?
um
Patriotism?
like intellectual, they will understand that like patriotism is the same in every single country. Like understand that patriotism for America is the same thing as patriotism for like North Korea or something like that. But emotionally it gets into this thing where, oh wait, but North Korea is worse. So it's like they understand that it's kind of dumb. It seems like most people aren't just going to come out and tell you you should support your country no matter what they do, because even like the most like don't
Yeah,
tread on
no,
me
nobody
and
would say that. They're going to
yeah.
say you should support America because we're the greatest. They will come out and say that. That's exactly what they say.
But yes, but they still won't say that you should just have it's patriotism is loving your country whenever all the time and loving your government when it deserves or something like that. But they won't make that disconnect where patriotism that just means if you're going to go by that just means liking the land, but then they'll use it to defend the politicians and defend the military and defend everything that has to do with the government that they're supposedly against. Like the whole thing with how the Tea Party was so pro military and pro police, and then it's like these are the guys shutting like if the government does come and do something, these are the motherfuckers who are going to come and do something. So you can say all you want that like, oh, I don't have pride, I have pride in my land or something like it's they always use these weird nebulous terms that don't mean anything, but they heard it in a book or a speech one time, which is I get that because almost every single thing I say, I had to have read someplace. Like I feel completely retarded most of the time because I'm like, I would not have an original thought because there's so much stupid stuff we read and everything that you just kind of repeat stuff. And if someone has never had that thought pattern or that speech broken up, it's easy just, oh, that makes sense. I'll just go with that because that's like, I can repeat that because even if you want to say, "Oh, well, I think about things more," normally you're thinking about things more is just reading a different article
Okay,
that has a different point of view.
listen, I like everything you're saying. You're right. We read too much. We go along with too much. We don't think critically enough, and we
No,
just
that's not what I'm saying.
accept
I
stuff.
don't think we're capable of it.
Sure, fine, whatever. But here's the problem. And yeah, you're right about anthem. Some guy, whatever, screw it. Okay, whatever. I I'm still stuck way back on the question of like, how do I oversimplify this
How
without
do you bring up your
having
family?
people
Yeah.
tell me that I'm oversimplifying this?
Yeah.
How
How
do
do you
I
say it at a family gathering without getting everybody pissed off at you?
yeah, or
Something like that.
like literally, like I said, butt to bench. That's it. That's literally what it is. All right? Like what how do I say that without
Well,
someone being like you're an idiot?
well, you can't because there is no way you can figure that out because it's not it's an emotional thing and it's an emotional, well, I'm supposed to be associated with this, so therefore you're like they feel like they're being attacked.
Okay. So that's fine. You're right. They're going to feel that. They're going to respond and say something like, well, you got to respect the military because they're all out there dying for me. Okay, then what's the answer? What's the answer to that? What do you say reasonably?
Nothing. You can't say if you say anything that's true.
I know you. You're right.
That's all I meant. Like, you can't say anything to some people. Like, I just don't talk to most people because it's like even just saying like, yeah, I mean, we've been in Iraq for about 16 years. No, we've been in Afghanistan or Iraq for like 14 years. Maybe that's not such a good idea. And then in the same breath, people are like, yeah, no, I'm against that. I think we should bring the troops home. Oh yeah, I mean, because like I don't think that the president is doing. Well, you take that back. The government's dying, and the soldiers are over there doing his work. It's fine. It's like, you just said that it's not good. Everyone admits that Vietnam was a fucking disaster, but then it's how the government works, because the government has that whole thing of it's a government for the people by the people. So instead of it being like these guys are assholes, you can always have, well, I knew one guy who once did that, so therefore my view of him should then come into how I view the rest of it. And I get that sentiment of not wanting to just put it like paint people with a broad brush and like, oh, well, my uncle was in the military and he wasn't a guy who killed babies in Vietnam. Well, some did. So what does it matter? Maybe he's an asshole, maybe he's not. But don't ask me to just completely support anything the troops do.
If you think it's a blanket statement for me to say that soldiers are idiots, fine, sure. You're right. It is a blanket statement, and it could be wrong in some cases. But so is respect then. Then the respect goes the same way. Why should I blanket respect them either then? Like I'm not just gonna
exactly.
Then why would I do that? So it goes both ways. Like, fine, you're right. They're not all terrible, but they're also not all great. So I'm not going to respect them. Like, I'm not going to blanket respect them.
That's probably the best thing you can say, because then you don't even have to make your point. You just have to go, I don't like making blanket statements on things because it is an individual thing, because either side that's going to have a problem with you can only really just go, I'm using that argument.
All you got to do is point to one soldier that did one evil thing, and then you're clear. Like, look, see, that's the only reason I don't want to blanket respect them, and you're good to go.
That gets into like, we just respect. I don't understand the reasoning for just respecting anything just right off the bat. I don't understand. Like, I get that traditionalism can be maybe good. Like, I understand the need for if you want to have a cult. I have no like stake in culture though, but I understand, like, if you want to have a stake in culture, you do have to have this respect for traditionalism, and this is how dead people used to do things. But I don't understand the idea of thinking that it goes back to everything we do is, oh, well, I think I like that, so I think it's wrong for other people not to like that. Like, you don't normally get someone who's, well, I'm a very traditional person, who then isn't going out and condemning somebody else just for not doing the same thing. It's like, well, maybe that person doesn't care about a tradition that they are a part of, or like even being part of a tradition. What does that mean? A tradition isn't like, oh, you wear the same clothes you got. What does that mean? And it's like Amazon accepting Bitcoin. It's kind of not really what they're saying it is, probably, but maybe not, but maybe it isn't even entirely. It's all fucked up.
Craig Daw back in the chat here says, nobody cared in school when the Jehovah's Witnesses didn't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
There's you see sometimes people complain about that too.
Yeah, like, that's what I was gonna say. Is some people probably do care,
yeah.
but who freaking cares? I'm gonna have a conniption over here.
It's because I don't fucking know.
I've been having a trend kind of that direction, as you may have noticed on the show. Like I said, a couple times recently, we've had to talk about oversimplification and just, who cares, guys?
Well,
And
it goes back
yeah.
to where you're like, okay, I don't. One of two things are true, and it's either I'm fucked up and crazy and don't understand something simple, or everybody else is fucked up and crazy and doesn't
Well,
understand something. So it's one or it's not
it's
this.
probably me because remember how I said oversimplification. It's literally just butt to bench. Who cares? Shut up. Well, at the same time, it's literally these people that are upset about it. They're literally just making noises with their throat and saying things that mean something. And I'm over here freaking out about it on my YouTube channel. So maybe I'm the one that's messed up. I don't know.
You're not wrong, no, but that's going way too meta for this entire conversation. You just like someone's going, "Why does it matter, guys?" And then you go up to him, you're like, "Why does it matter, man?"
Yeah,
And someone
why does
comes
it
up to
matter?
you and
Why
is like,
does it
"What does it
matter?
matter?
Why
Why
does
does
it
it matter?
matter?
Like
Why
it
does it
doesn't
matter?
matter."
Why does it matter?
You just get stuck in a loop of just Inception like retardedness.
Yeah, Inception is hard enough to watch even when you're awake, but when you fall asleep in the middle of it and then wake up for the end of it, whew, that's a fun time. Okay. Craig Dobb also says people are so polarized, they'll never get it. Probably true. Some people. But we're here to do our best to change that. So thanks for joining us, Craig. I don't believe I've ever seen you in the chat before, so super glad you're with us. Always happy to have new people. And we got one more thing, Tim.
Hello.
Enough national anthem. It's true. Who cares? So let's move on. Enough of that bull crap. Let's move on to one last story before we wrap up. Bitcoin trading at an 85% premium in Zimbabwe. Shoot, that's a lot. And what do you think about that, Tim? It's a pretty short story here. There's not a ton to say other than Zimbabwe's screwed up, and people are craving Bitcoin over there. What do you think, Tim? Good, bad, good for Bitcoin, bad for Bitcoin, good for Zimbabweans, bad for Zimbabweans, good for us, bad for us. What's it all mean? Break
It's
it
pretty
down.
shitty for Zimbabweans just because shitty is in
Why?
like,
Why? They have Bitcoin.
well, that's the thing is like people it's shitty that like they have to spend that much money, but they're spending that much money because it is worth that much. And I think that's one of the things that gets glossed over a lot. Anytime there's a shortage of something, and anytime there's racing prices, is that as long as it's not like a forced buying of it, and where like or where you have to buy this, you have to pay for insurance, you have to do whatever this is, and you get this price inflation. If
Right,
it's
right.
something that is free, the reason why it's being that people are spending that much money is because it is worth that much money to them.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it is great, but if you didn't buy it already, it's kind of shitty.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Dead on. You literally nailed it there.
Dead on.
Yeah, I mean it's good because they have something to hang on to. They have something that's so valuable to get them through their troubles. But for some people, it also sucks. So, but hey, that's where entrepreneurs will reap their rewards and make the world a better place by looking for these opportunities and finding the markets and making money and providing services and value, and that's how the world gets better. So I'll I'll take that. I'll take it. There's supposedly, what do they say here? Something about this isn't even a long story. Something about credit cards. Oh yeah, here it is. The government has begun to stop all credit card payments and has restricted the flow of cash into and out of the country. What? How? What? I don't get that one. Why would they stop credit card payments? Is it just that volatile? Every time I say this word, but is there economy just that sensitive that you can't even make a credit card payment without screwing stuff up? Any ideas, Tim? Like what's that mean? What's going on?
You need somebody from Zimbabwe in the chat if you have enough bitcoins
Yeah,
to buy
seriously.
internet. I guess it's because of the is it the government shut down the credit cards?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
according to this article from Cointelegraph,
So
the
I would have
government.
said like the companies would have shut down because of how much it would cost them, maybe, or what it would like cost doing business in the country. Maybe the government, it doesn't even have to make sense. It might just be that they're like, these outsiders are ruining our economy. They're trying to predicate upon our people, and that could be it. It could be. I can't see why like using Discover or American Express would really derail an economy. I guess it's taking money out of the country.
Oh, okay. See, the way I read that, you're right. It could be. Yeah, oh, this could mean a lot of stuff. Maybe that just means it's a poorly written article. The way I read it was like, because I'm a responsible citizen, I'm used to paying off my credit card. So that's the way I read it, was you're not allowed to make payments to your credit card. But you, Tim, since you're a big spender and you waste all your money on your credit card, you're more used to buying stuff with your credit card. So when you read credit card payments, you thought like going to the store and buying stuff with a credit card.
Yeah.
I,
I
but
think
yeah, I
it's
don't know
just
which one they mean.
yeah, they just don't want money like going out. If you're going to spend the money at the store, don't then send it to Discover's headquarters or whatever like that.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably more about you can't use a credit card there rather than you can't pay off a credit card there. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. They just, because I guess part of the argument there is that yeah, this makes a lot more sense. If you spend, okay, the way inflation works, I got to try to be clear about this because it's debt and it's complicated. But with inflation, money becomes less and less valuable, especially hyperinflation. Every day it becomes less valuable. So if you have a functioning credit card system and what's a Zimbabwe dollar called? Just a dollar?
I think it's just the
Uh,
Zimbabwe dollar. Yeah.
okay. If you buy something for $100 with your credit card today, and all of a sudden, you know, every day that $100 is worth less and less. So you pay it off in a month. $100 is almost worthless. So you're like, oh yeah, sure, I make that much in an hour now. So I guess that's the argument, where it's because if credit is a way of increasing the money supply even more than the hyperinflation they're already suffering from. Yeah, that's what debt does. It creates money out of thin air. And so that just exacerbates the already existing inflation problem. That makes a whole lot more sense. Now I feel like I read that right. Am I making sense, Tim? Does that explain it?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, so credit cards increase the money supply, so that just makes the problem worse. That's what it boils down to. Let's oversimplify it today, guys.
Of
Yeah.
course.
So anyway, point is they hit prices as high as $7,200. We're still sitting pretty at $4,200 here in the U.S. I'm not complaining about that. Thanks, guys. Keep buying, keep hodling, and come back next Thursday. But I'm ready to split, Tim. Are you? We got to do advice first, though. But are you ready for that?
Yeah, I'm ready to just kind of like muddle our way through advice.
All right. So it's advice time. I feel like I actually have a lot of ideas. So we hit 3 really big topics today. First up, Amazon accepting Bitcoin. That's freaking huge. All right. So whatever. Don't forget to vote in our poll. You, me, and btc.com/live. Or if you're listening to this in the future, /live will redirect to the most recent episode. If you want to get to this one in particular, me and btc.com/E194. That's how we do all our episodes, just /E194. But anyway, so don't forget to vote in our poll over there, because I want to know about Amazon. That was a big topic, but also the Anthem thing. That's a huge thing in the media these days. So maybe you got some advice about that, Tim. Or $7,200 Bitcoin. That's a pretty darn big thing, too. So maybe you got some advice there. Anything, Tim?
Buy Bitcoin, go to Zimbabwe, and
Sell it.
start a well, no. First, you have to complain about the national anthem there, cause a panic, and
Yeah, drive
continue
the
to
price up
shoot the
even
price
more.
up. Yes.
Riots.
Then you sell it. Start riots and cause general mayhem and
And
make
then
money
spend
off of
all
it.
that new money on Amazon.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. You hit it all.
Bring it all back to America so that you make the motherland more money.
So I got a little bit here. First of all, please, I'm begging for an answer here. What what do I tell the conservatives without oversimplifying? Because like I said, I've been on an oversimplification kick for the past few weeks, but at the same time, you got to be careful about that because it's literally just words, vibrations coming out of their neck. What the heck? Why do I care? So yeah, it's true. Why do I care? Why do I care about this? What do I say? What? I don't know. Tell me why I care, or do I, or shouldn't I? Or yeah, seriously, let me know. Tweet me. That's my advice. Tweet me. You, me, and BTC. Why anything? Why the world? Why do I? All right, guys, it's been a blast. Any closing thoughts, Tim? I'm ready to split.
Don't start arguments with your family unless you are trying to get out of the family.
Okay. All right.
That's a mob thing.
The music you're hearing right now is from the terrible, the disgusting, I wanted to say vomitable. That's not quite the way, but it makes you want to vomit. But anyway, it's Jon Stewart. So I apologize for that. And we'll catch you next Thursday, same time, same place at btc.com/live, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Peace out, homie G's. Don't forget it, but to bench.
But to bench. Bye, guys.